What's going on, guys? So an exciting new update just dropped from the Albion team that shapeshifting will be introduced into Albion. Now the date has not been set of when the patch will be updated, but it's an exciting new addition to the game and it should really affect every player in Albion. So in this video I wanted to go over what to expect here with the new update based on the latest devlog from the Albion team. And then I want to go into, in my opinion, the best 5 ways to prepare for the update, no matter what you're doing, whether it's crafting, gathering, combat, just like speculation with the economy, or just refining your build in general. So starting off, it looks like there's 5 new staves that are going to be introduced. One is going to be the Golem staff, which seems to be more of like a tanky damage reduction type build, that when you use the abilities, it will allow you to, I don't think it'll increase your speed much, but allow you to absorb a lot more damage in general. Next is the Panther staff, and these are just names I'm coming up with based on the look and what I've seen in the video. But it looks like it's more mobility wise. If you played World of Warcraft, the druid has like a cheetah shapeshift that allows him to it's almost like turning into a mount instantly. So that should be pretty cool for mobility. The third one I see is the bear staff, and it turns you into a bear, which is also probably a little bit tanky, not as tanky as the golem, but also provides like different types of crowd control, maybe stuns or maybe buffs around your character as well as others. The fourth one I see is the imp staff, and they've talked about this one as more of like a glass cannon type build where you could deal more damage, but you're more susceptible to taking damage. Like a mage class and you want to go all in and just do as much damage, this might be the one for you. The last one I see is the ent staff, which turns you into like an ent, like a tree ent, like if you played MMO, so you could turn into like a tree, you have more like healing. That's kind of what the vibe I get from it. Now, those are the 5 staves, but you could also turn into, and I'm not exactly sure which staves these are for, but you could turn into a werewolf, which seems to give you a little bit more health, maybe a little bit more damage reduction and damage, like more of like a balanced type build compared to all the other ones I've mentioned before. And then there's one that turns into an eagle shape. Now, there's only 5 staves that they mentioned, so I don't know if the Ent staff will turn you into either like an Ent, werewolf, or eagle, and you could choose. I don't think it would work with the imp staff, maybe with the bear staff that I mentioned before, but it's cool that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different shapes that you could actually transform into with these new staffs. And even solo builds, killing open world mobs, like really, that's why I say like it will affect everyone pretty much who plays Albion, because not only will it benefit, most people do PvP, but I don't want to say stale, but kind of stale. Everyone's using the same similar builds, but it's definitely going to change things up, and everyone's going to be wanting to use or try out these new staves in different variations. So this brings me to the opportunities here of the best 5 ways to prepare for the shapeshifting update. So starting number 1, if you guys are crafters or thinking about going into crafting, a good way to prepare, in my opinion, would be save your learning points, because you're going to need to upgrade these specs of your whatever staff you're going for. So they mentioned 5 different staves, and let's say you're going to go for the golem staff. You're going to want to, save your learning points and then stockpile the resources that are needed. Now, this is speculation, but I went through and I checked out the current staves that are in the game and the tier 4 requirements, and they just go up from there to tier 5, tier 6, but generally it doesn't change the actual type of resource. So for example, all these staves use pine planks. So speculation wise, I really think that when you're crafting, you're going to be needing a lot of these. So this is going to boost the price of wood a lot, in my opinion, if they follow this trend. Now, the secondary resource is not as much, but most of them use steel bars, and 2 of them, the newest ones, the Holy and Nature staff, they require cloth. So based on pure speculation, I'm thinking that all the new staves are going to be using pine planks, or planks as the main primary resource, and then depending on the staff, they're going to have another secondary resource. So I just put these in like as, again, a speculation. This is nothing that's been set in stone, but Adept's Golem staff, I'm saying maybe, pine planks and then stone block of tier 4. while Panther Staff would be, and Bear Staff might be more like leather. Imp, maybe steel bar, just like the other ones, like the Curse Staff and Arcane, because that's more like magic. And then End Staff, maybe cloth, because that fits into like the holy in nature staff. Now, again, this is just a guess. As they post new updates, I think it'll be important to subscribe to that Albion Online YouTube channel, because that's the first way you're going to probably get updates as to what these staves will require. Maybe it'll be a whole different resource. I don't know, but most likely they're going to follow this trend, I would think. So if crafting, as I mentioned, save your learning points so you could upgrade, whatever spec you're going for, whether it's the Ent, Imp, Bear, Panther, or Golem Staff, and stockpile those specific resources. And I'm thinking pine planks or planks in general might be the biggest one. So that's just my thought. Okay. Number 2, gathering. So I'm mainly gathering, and similar to crafting, I would use your learning points. If you're just going to go straight gathering, I would pay attention to see which resource is going to be most valuable. I'm thinking planks. So I'm going to be probably my gathering character. Focus a little bit more on wood cutting, because right now I'm at tier 5, but I like to get that to tier 8. And then if you're going pure gathering, once you hit tier 8, you could still use your learning points if you want, if you're going purely gathering on the individual, like tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 spec, whatever you're gathering specifically for the pure speed and the gathering bonus. And you could use your learning points and spec for that. So you can prepare just by solely doing whatever resource you think is going to be most valuable come the release of these staffs. Number 3, many of you, I would say most people in Albion, like the PvP combat, I don't know the percentage breakdown, but if you are purely combat, whether you're PvP, like guild battles or solo, right now what you could do is probably farm combat credits, and you'll have those combat credits once you need to upgrade the specific staff that you're using. So you can get this channel, but it's the economy. So if you're purely looking to make silver on this, as I mentioned before with these possible resource increases and tome increases, you can speculate and buy now, because what I've seen from previous updates is once there's like a few weeks before, maybe even a month before the actual release, people just start buying up the resources like crazy. You could buy them up now. That's probably the cheapest they're going to be. And then once the actual patch releases, they don't actually keep going up because people have stockpiled so much. That's really when you want to sell, right before, like the day before the patch releases, because people have been buying up all these for all this time, and they've been stockpiling. And there's only so much room for the use of these materials once people have stockpiled millions of resources. But now is a good time to speculate and buy low on the resources, even if it's whatever you could afford. I'm probably going to buy a decent amount of wood and planks if they're cheap, just to have some in my main like stash, and I could just hold it there because I really don't. I have a lot of space there right now. So in addition, I'm going to again subscribe to this Albion Online channel so I could get updates, and once there's an update drops that they specifically say what the resource is going to be, it's going to spike up crazy. So I want to be up there, and then once that spike hits and it starts decreasing a little bit, I'm going to start selling at that almost high point. But as it's still going up, I'm going to keep selling, because once it gets to a point where everyone's selling, it's going to crash. So you got to be mindful of that, and that's just my plan for the economy. And this is probably one that fits to everyone, because it's refining your build, especially combat related. So right now, being that you can't really upgrade the spec of the staffs because it's not released, but you can kind of formulate what kind of build you want, because you could either have, like, let's say you want using the golem staff and you want to be super tanky, so upgrade all your like metal type armor specs, and you could be extremely tanky once it releases with the golem staff, and then upgrade the golem staff once it releases. But up until that point, you could focus on, upgrading your build that you want to play once it actually hits or releases. Or on the flip side, maybe you want to use the golem staff for tankiness, but you want to have all your other gear towards like damage, like an assassin jacket or one of like leather or cloth, to get that damage increase, and then just use that golem staff to complement. Personally, I'm really interested in like the werewolf one as well as the panther staff, because I like the attack speed and movement speed, and I might just double down on that because right now I play claws and I'm already in leather, so that's kind of my plan. But really, you can do anything you want and see if you want to complement or just go purely, pure damage, or if you're going pure damage, go all cloth. If you want to go tanky, metal, and then if you want like some middle ground, leather. And being that it's going to be a weapon, all these staves, you'd be focusing obviously on upgrading your armor. I would save the tomes still for once this releases, because then you could use the tomes on all your armor that you're using and this whatever staff. So those are my my thoughts on the latest update. I'm actually pretty excited for this because it's really going to change the whole way people play as well as the economy, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. So as I mentioned before, and there's a quick recap, if you want to craft, save your learning points and stockpile your resources. If you're gathering, use your learning points on upgrading to tier 8, then upgrading the individual specs for speed and the gathering bonus. Combat, farm combat credits now, and you can store your combat tomes so you could use them all on your staves once the shapeshifting update happens. And then the economy, speculate and buy low on resources and tomes. I'm thinking planks as the main resource, but I'm going to keep a close eye on the updates as they come over the coming weeks from Albion Online devs. And then refine your build. So plan out what you want to do, whether it's if you're in a guild, what role do you play, or if you're playing solo, how do you want to play it, whether it's more tanky damage or more of like a versatile balanced build. Okay, so that's the video. Let me know. I'm interested to know what you guys are planning for, or if you're excited for this patch, and feel free to comment anything below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the whole shapeshifting update. Personally, I'm excited for this, and I can't wait to see when this gets implemented and how it affects the whole overall game and people's experience. So thanks for watching, and comment below.